My name's Deacon. I'm 25. I'm from just outside of London, in a place called Hempstead. I'm a photographer.
My name's Harry. I'm a Kiwi from New Zealand. I'm 21 years old and I love to create. I came to Hampi because I had fond memories of the place.
Hampi's a paradise.
It just left a special place in my heart. It just fills you from the inside out with goodness.
And it's just a really magical place.
When I first got here for my first trip, it was immediately an oasis. Birds like you can't believe. Every time you look at the sky, you see a different bird. Wildlife like you've never seen.
It feels like you're on Mars because there's just these very foreign-looking boulders everywhere. I met Harry in Hampi in 2018.
So Lou and I obviously kept in touch since we first met here.
I guess I just had a big dream of coming back to Hampi.
I was back in New Zealand. It was summertime and I was actually just preparing to head down to Antarctica of all places.
Naturally, I send Harry an Instagram message saying, hey bro, we should link up in Hampi.
Lou just hit me up being like, Harry, like we need to get together and I just want to create something with you, please. And so I was kind of like, all right, well, what are you thinking?
To make a film about some boys that sell chai.
All right, okay, that's an idea. That's all you need.
The chai boys. So, during high season, everyone goes up to Sunset Point. Last year during high season, there was a crew of about 6 of them. They bring all the tourists together because everyone wants to go up there. And they just had a lasting impression. Like the hustle that these boys have is just unreal.
I've known this guy for literally, in terms of days spent together, less than a week.
They're so happy, they're full of energy. They're just cool dudes. They're just really cool. I just admire them.
They were inspiring kids. And so I knew that if we could somehow grasp some of their inspiration and their ability to inspire us, then who knows, we might be able to come up with something. The risk, there's always risk in doing anything worthwhile. That comes with the territory. Finding out that Lou's actually just a dickhead from London, which he partially is.
The risk was flying to Goa, getting a night bus to Hampi, and not knowing if the boys would be here. Had we got this story right in our head, and it's my first time making a film. Yeah, we've made it happen. We're here in Hampi.
We'd got over that first hurdle, and that was pretty awesome because it was 2 people from literally the opposite ends of the globe who have only spent less than a week together, coming together on nothing but a whim of an idea, a gut feeling that no matter what, something positive and something worthwhile and meaningful will come out of this.
It's low season. I didn't really quite realise how low season was.
We got here on our first day and we'd literally made sure we were making a pace across from the bus stop from across the other side of the river to getting to here, the Goan corner. Last time we were here there was a line out the door and the place was fully booked. We were lucky to get a room on the roof.
Normally every room is full. Every morning people are getting off the ferry and there's a queue of 20 people and people are getting turned away. We rock up, it's not shut, but it's semi-shut down. The restaurant isn't open, the front desk isn't open. We were shouting hello for 5 minutes to find someone that could get us a room, and there was no tourists to be seen.
The dining area, which once had probably 100 people at night, all having a great time, catching up, sharing stories from across the world. There was no sign of it.
Me and Harry are looking at each other, not really saying a word.
We knew it was off-season, but we did not expect it to be that quiet and that lifeless.
My own dream of making this film kind of started to crumble apart.
This was not going to be this walk in the park that Lou and I had foolishly imagined. Once we got ourselves set up, we tried to keep our spirits high and decided we had to go for a cruise around town and see what we could find.
We jump on 2 navvies, which are our favourite little bikes.
Cruising around town we were still pretty deflated. Because even just all the shops that were once open, the lines and lines of shops down the main street, everything was shut up shop.
We took some photos, and then on our way back, just coming off the main road, and there's a chai boy buying paper cups.
And he just had this pot of chai, the classic thermos of chai under his arm, slammed the brakes on. I was like, Lou, there's a chai boy, there's a chai boy.
We offer the chai boy a lift, he gets on the back of Harry's bike and we drop him off at Sunset Point and we race home to get the camera equipment.
Yes.
We go up to Sunset Point and we start filming.
We'd had this glimmer of hope.
And the little chai boy was just a dude.
But the problem was, when it came to being up on the rocks, we were the only ones there that he could really sell chai to.
It started to change our story immediately.
I naturally just started to try and readjust or change things up again so that we can then maybe try and tailor the story around this one chai boy.
That's not what we were here for. We weren't here for one boy. We were here for a whole collective of boys that just had an insane hustle.
Hustling their way through hundreds of tourists on the rocks each night, paving their way and learning how to sell, and valuable life skills that they could develop up there.
From the moment we saw the first chai boy, it was elation. The next day, it was kind of disappointment because we started talking to locals and they gave us more of a background. We soon discovered that, you know, the chai boys bunk off the school.
And found out about the leopard.
The chai boys had been told not to come because there's a leopard. Basically, it lives in Hampi. It killed 2 stray dogs.
And all of a sudden, we were kind of back down to square one again.
So it was like an absolute roller coaster of emotions. There was moments where me and Harry had discussions of should we scrap the whole thing? Like what are we doing? Are we exploiting these children for our own gain? We're not about that.
That was when I started having my first real doubts about what on earth we were going to try and create here. I was really feeling the pressure and the weight of trying to pursue this story.
We kept trying because we had each other to bounce off each other the whole time.
I'd found myself no longer really attached to or connected with because of all of these other things that we were finding out.
The story could become super political, as in the politics of Hampi and how things run. Dealing with the stuff that we had been told that was dark. For instance, I wouldn't wish some of this stuff upon my worst enemy.
Basically, it was little did we know how little we knew. As we were trying to make progress on the film and pursue this idea, I quietly realised that through all the discomfort and distractions from being in the moment and seeing the beauty in things, I'd realised why were we so caught up on just trying to pursue this one story about these chai boys.
The readjustment of the film basically becomes supernatural. We were filming other stuff, just for fun, for B-roll, just for ourselves, for anything. It was just interesting.
And so that's when my heart started to click again, and I realised that just these experiences that we're having in between this hard graft of battling through a story that was never going to happen.
We weren't chasing those stories, we were just talking to people, and if they had a recommendation that something was cool, we'd be like, can we come? Can you show us? Can you tell us? So we went climbing and the chai boy was there and we were seeing, you know, how climbing just came so naturally to him and it filled the room with happiness. It wasn't a room, but you know, everyone was watching him, supporting him, helping him, and he was crushing it.
And all of a sudden we were free again just to explore and ask people about how they felt and where they were from and just get to know the stories of the area.
And then we just started talking to more and more people and they were willing to share their story and it kind of went from there. Excuse my language, but it's been f***ing hot. It's been unbelievably hot.
Put it this way, I had sweat coming out of every single sweat gland available on my body. I'd just gone from -20 or whatever it was at the bottom of the world to +40.
I mean, we're going to sleep and it's 30 degrees. We have a fan where the electrics cuts out all the time. It's then 45 degrees from 10 o'clock onwards pretty much.
These non-stop headaches. I'd had to stay on top of my hydration, otherwise I'd be effectively useless out here.
We had breakfast, we're driving back to where we're staying in Going Corner, and there's big combine harvesters in the field.
And it was rice harvesting season here, and there were just, you know, these people working, ladies and men just working in the fields in this soaring temperatures.
Next thing you know, the guy's like waving at me and I'm like, can I come over? And I jump in a combine harvester. You know, the camera starts cooking and flashing up things I never even knew was a thing in a camera.
And I saw these people working out in the rice fields, and I thought, man, like, if they can do it, there is no reason why we can't do it. They're working because they have to, and we're here trying to do this work because we want to, and we're passionate about it, and we think there's some good stories to tell here that will help all of us learn and become better people.
So I'm having a wicked time in a combine harvester. I'm hanging out the side. I think that was the moment something clicked in my head, saying there's stories everywhere here. We were going to a local, very local, I don't even know what to call it. It's not really a restaurant. It's just, I hate to say it, just a shack on the side of the road with 2 plastic tables.
We just started to realise what a beautiful story they had. This was a family with next to nothing, but working as a family and trying to build a small business.
And the food, possibly the best food I've ever had in my entire life.
They made the most beautiful samosas that I've ever had, so good that we've gone back every single day since, either for lunch or dinner or both.
And one day, I mean, we had been going there every single night since we arrived, and we just asked if we could film his wife making some samosas for us, and it was just magical.
And we got to see how she made them, the process. She had one pan, one element, and made everything from scratch as soon as we walked in.
Just to make clear, the guy does everything he can to help the wife, and he calls her the boss, because she is the boss.
The husband was just a legend. He managed to get us in there, get us chatting. He ran lots of different sort of products or services from this little shack.
It was very eye-opening to see how someone with so little makes something so incredible, because we have all this stuff and there was a moment where we were deflated and were going to give up, and I realised they have nothing and they make something beautiful.
My favourite character that I've met along the way here has been Jack, one of the sons and a part of the family that runs the Backpackers here, the Going Corner.
He discovered Harry has a great passion for wildlife.
He is such an understated guy who's so knowledgeable and so kind and caring. I found out that he also is so passionate about wildlife and conservation, and that obviously struck a chord with me.
And Jack took us on an adventure.
He asked us to come with him to go see these wild flamingos, which are only here for a very particular part of the year, and it happened to be now. And so we were so stoked to just get the chance to go try see them. Nothing was guaranteed. So we jumped on our navvies, our bikes. There was a good squad of us, 4 of us, that went out
to what felt like being on the moon. Oh, it was just amazing.
And they were there, and we saw them, and it was just so breathtaking to just see them fly off and just to be in that area where they were and just to observe and look at them doing their thing. It was fantastic. And then on top of all that, we got to meet some of these people that also called those marshy areas their homes, which were these fishermen. And they were just, the lives that they were living is so contrasting to our own. I wouldn't even know where to start describing it.
The fishermen there are notorious for spending their wages on getting intoxicated, basically. From what we found out, there's quite a lot of fights and there's quite a rivalry on their turf as of such.
The whole experience was just hard to describe and talk about, but Jack was just taking us through, and it was so lovely. And
what made it more special is Jack doesn't seem to give off too much of a vibe of how special certain things are, but we were the first tourists he's ever taken there. because he doesn't want it spoiled.
And I understood where he was coming from and why he hadn't shown anyone this spot. It was like another planet, and he's seen firsthand what can happen if you open up places to unlimited numbers of tourists who have their own value systems and moral compasses that care about different things. But we all have places like that are just so close to our hearts that we'd never like to see them change. And then the other time we got to hang out was when he showed us around the whole property here at the Backpackers. It was just really special because Jack actually quite reminded me of my own brother at home and his ability to just create beautiful things just with what he has. I was never sure what was going to happen here. I knew that we had this rough idea.
Little did we know it was going to, well, it has become something way more than we could have ever imagined. We will also find out a lot about ourselves and how we deal with things and how we work together, along with how this story was constantly changing and how we would have to adapt and just see that there's a positive in everything instead of being like, oh, it's over. The Chai Boys aren't here, let's scrap the whole thing and just have a good time. But little do we know the story actually finds us. So it's just putting yourself out there and accepting whoever talks to you or what comes to you.
It's being open right now with how this journey has gone and importantly how this journey has not gone.
Failure isn't just no way. In my mind, have we failed one slightest bit? We've just told a story that's different to what we expected.
Failure is very black and white. It's either something happened or it didn't. And so in this respect, yes, we definitely failed in our attempt of making a film about the Chai Boys.
If anything, it's bad on us because we come into it with a romantic idea that we were just going to smash out a film that was going to be incredible, all about some boys that sell chai. And little did we know, it's turned into a film that is basically Chai, the film that never got made.
I like to commit. That's the only way you get to the good parts in life, by committing.
If you're driven enough, you can make anything happen.
Take the time to get to know the people. Take the time to give yourself to people so that they will then open up to you. The amount that we've learned over the last week, I will hold those lessons for the rest of my life.
The locals helped a lot. They were like the silent cheerers.
I'm so thankful to have had the time to get to know the people here. And we thought that we could just come here in a few days and whack something out. And it was so foolish to ever expect that would generate something with any kind of beauty.
It's been a learning curve, but it's been beautiful. It's not my last time here, let's put it that way. And even if it was, it will forever hold a place in my heart that just nothing can touch.
Ultimately, it's been some of the best days of my life.
Imagine if this boulder just gave away. That'd be it. Pretty good way to go.